Hey everyone out there, this is Devin Adams. I'm a Fortinet instructor here in Tempe, Arizona, and I've been recording these videos for the people who take my class. And this is just once again another video. I think it's number 6 out of the playlist of us just building the topology, so we have the actual machines to do the things that I wanna try out. So in the last one, we added our PCs to the domain. We also renamed our PCs. We verified DNS was working. We even made a pointer record lookup, um, and we're kind of ready to go in that sense. Now, I thought to myself, okay, what should I build next? And I was going to start building a branch office out here, but I thought to myself, you know what? I better finish like the non Fortinet machines first. So that's just what I'm gonna do here. So for starters, I'm gonna create an additional WAN cloud. Now this WAN cloud here, it is just a router. So it's pretending to be public, right? Right. And the whole idea behind this is, that way we can make like point-to-point connections, VPN tunnels, and not actually traverse the real internet, which is NATed through this interface on my host machine. So now the reason why I want to make a whole nother additional hop here, right, is because when we have users coming from remote sites, that's the kind of challenge that we're going to face because we have absolutely no control over the public IP addresses from the devices that are remoting in. So at least we normally don't. Um, and basically, we want to make sure that we can simulate that being behind an added device. So we're just going to use a pfSense box for that. I'm going to spit it up, and we're going to configure it. So, and then obviously we need additional PCs. Right, so for the remote servers to connect to. So we'll just add another Windows PC out here, and that way we can practice our SSL-VPN with our domain controller. So, and then there needs to be something for those remote users to be able to test once they get through to the internal um, VPN connection, to the internal uh, private network over here at headquarters. So we're just going to spit up a real quick web server. And then once we configure the web server, I'm going to make a DNS A record for that web server, so we can test it. So, and also that DNS record is going to show that DNS works through the SSL VPN tunnel. All right, so that's going to be our goal. So and then we'll then we'll go from there. So I'm just gonna hop right to it, no pun intended. Get it? It's a router. Hop right to it, and I'm gonna start that pfSense box. So the pfSense is an open source firewall router. All right, it does a pretty good job, and it also has a package store that you can use that you can add functionality to it, and it's really slick. Like for an open source firewall, I like it a lot. I've been using it since I've been teaching CompTIA. Anyway, so and to step through that and to install it, it's just like any other appliance on the GNS3 platform. So, but there is going to be some configuration that we're going to have to do because it is a blank box. So I'm going to go ahead and have that turned on. Now, normally the first interface that's right here is going to be uh, DHCP. And also the first interface after that, the next interface after that is going to have like a 192 IP address, but it doesn't have DHCP on. So we're going to flip that around so we can actually talk with the WAN cloud here. Now, the WAN cloud is just another pfSense box, but it's been pre-configured with 10 interfaces. So each one of these numbers here match up with one of the numbers here, and I'm actually going to pick the one towards the bottom. So that way we can use these for our remote FortiGate sites. So there we go. I'm going to plug it into the first port. All right. And this should be booting up, and it should be going through the install process. I hope it wasn't pre-configured by me. Um, but we might have to click through that. So, and that just might take a second. Now, I got to keep an eye out on my resources here because I might have a lot, I might have a lot running on this machine, and it might cause some problems, even though I'm running these on a different machine. But Anyways, yeah, see, it's just gonna take a minute, so I'm gonna let that just do its thing. All right. In the meantime, okay, we are gonna need a Windows machine. All right, and we're not gonna plug that in or turn it on until we have our pfSense up and running, because this is configured for DHCP and it's the same identical VM that we used for these two PCs here. So I'm just going to give it a real quick rename to a remote PC1. All right, so that's going to represent some remote worker out there in the workforce. Okay, so maybe a bring your own device. And just for kicks, literally just for kicks, I'm going to throw on a Linux box in here, like an Ubuntu build. Why? I've been personally dying to try out the uh, the Linux FortiClient. So I think in the last version of 6.0, there's now an official FortiClient for Linux, and I just want to try it out down the road. So I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna have that going. So and I'm gonna use my Ubuntu build. And once again, this is one of those things where you can just walk through it. I thought I had one. There it is. Yeah, so it's just like installing Ubuntu, but except for using an Ubuntu ISO, I used a Lubuntu, which is light Ubuntu. Okay, see a little Tux the Penguin there, and I'm gonna have that bad boy remote PC2. All right, just to simulate some Linux guy out there that might be working for us. All right, so and before I turn that bad boy on, I'm gonna see how my pfSense box is doing. All right, so as you can tell here, it is running for the first time. So it's saying which one is your WAN interface. It's going to be the EM0, okay? And then here it's saying, hey, what is your LAN interface? This is the pfSense box. Now this is what's going to turn it into a firewall, and it's going to enable that, and that's actually what we want. So we'll say EM1, okay? And then I'm just going to do nothing for the rest of them. So let's go ahead and proceed, because all we need is one interface. We can always go into the GUI and turn that back on later on. So I'm going to let that continue to configure. All right, I'm going to go to my remote box, kind of multitasking here as I had a brain fart. Here we go, configure, and I'm going to go ahead and you know what? I don't think, because I custom made this, I don't think you have the little network one in here. Usually there's, like with these web term boxes and things like that, there's a little network edit. I'm almost sure that is set up for DHCP. If it's not, no big deal. I can turn it on once it's booted. So I just want to make sure that this finishes posting. So all right, and we'll just let this do its thing. It takes a while because it thinks that that EM0 has a DHCP on it, so it's just going to time out. Now, obviously, I'm going to have this in the same broadcast domain, so I need a switch here, and I'm pretty sure that we're just going to use some 192 number, because that's usually what our router switches at home from our cable provider or something will provide us. So I'm just going to say like 192.168.10/24. All right. And the real surprise is going to be, instead of a router here, I am just going to change the symbol, all right, to an ambiguous cloud, because that's what it's supposed to represent. And instead of pfSense, I'm just going to call it, somewhere. I know that sounds silly, but it's going to be somewhere. And just for myself, I'm going to go ahead and also put a label on there so I remember the subnet, because I'm not that slick, guys. But it is plugged into ports 9 on this box, so I know it's 10.209.0 subnet there. So let's just use our little pencil icon here, and we'll do a 10.200.9.0 with a slash 24. So just don't forget that this interface and our switch here is going to be natting. So um, all the WAN router is going to see, which is once again another pfSense box, right? Um, it's going to see the 10209 and it should be able to traverse our entire network. So, all right, let's see how that's doing anyways. Let's take a look here. All right, so we're up, okay? And it does look like, that's kind of weird. I must have had this pre-configured beforehand because obviously something's going on here. Normally you have to go through the install process. I must have been messing around with this. So, but that's okay because I wanted to switch it up anyways. So what we're going to do here is assign IP addresses. So we're going to say 2. All right, we're going to do it for the WAN. And we are going to have DHCP, no. Instead, it's going to be 10.209 1 with the 24. And the reason why is because this one right here has an IP address of 10.209.254. So this is going to be the other side of that. So I'm going to say no upstream. I'm going to hit enter for LAN. There is no DHCP for IP6. All right. There we go. Okay. And before I even go forward, I'm just gonna test that. And real easily, I'm gonna hit number 7 here to do a ping, and I'm gonna do 10.200.9.254, and hopefully, yep, there you go. It's making it to this interface here. So good times. All right. Now let's go ahead and finish the LAN side. Okay. So here I'm gonna say assign IP addresses, so number 2 again, but this time I'm going to pick 2. All right. The new IP address is going to be 192.168.1.1. All right. And that's going to be a /24. Okay. Now, nope, I don't want IP6. Now, this is where we want the magic to happen. So I'm going to say yes for the DHCP. Okay. And it's going to be 192.168.1.10 is going to be the starts, and we'll do 10 just so we have 10 possible IP addresses to use there. All right. And now there's actually a DHCP server. So once we turn on those 2 machines, it will find an IP address, and hopefully we can get out to the internet. And then once again, I'll probably run the updates on this machine. And the reason why I'm running the updates on the machines is because when we go to install the Forta client, you're going to see it does a compliance check. And if the Windows machine isn't up to a certain level of updates, it doesn't even let you install. So with a Linux box, I have no idea. I've never played with it. It's just been on my 40 bucket list of things to try. But let's get those plugged in and booted and see if my laptop will melt. So there we go. So I'm going to plug that in there. I'm going to plug that in there. What up, Tux? All right, and these are going to be our remote users eventually. So let me go ahead and turn on the PCs. I probably should have done that one at a time. If my video crashes, you guys know what happened. So okay, so we're gonna let that bake. So we did the WAN, we did the additional PCs. The Penguin was the Penguin. The Linux box was impromptu. I just decided to do it. Let's go ahead and while these 2 are booting up, do our internal web server. All right, so we're going to stick this on the management side. So here we go. And the one that I like to use is the toolbox. Now the toolbox is just a collection of tools that that kind of comes with pfSense, right? There's like a DHCP, there's an FTP server if you need it. Obviously, there's a web server. It's just kind of slick because to deploy a web server, I mean, oh my gosh, look at that. It's done. That's it. You gotta love it. So now if you're installing that for the first time, it's just clicking through a few steps and you you'll download if it needs it, and then you're good to go. So but here we got to make believe to look like a real server, right? So I'm going to right click here, I'm going to hit configure, and I'm going to call something like a web server, but I should say something like internal web server, because this is only going to be accessible within our internal network. So just pretend like it's an admin portal, or not an admin portal, like an HR portal. I'm not going to take the time to actually write a web page for it, at least not right now. But here we go. I'm going to go ahead and hit edit here, and we're not going to want DHCP, obviously, because it's a server. So, and if I remember my range correctly, the first 10 aren't being passed out. So I'm just going to use let's see here. I'll just use 10, 1, 1, 5 for that web server. All right. And then our gateway is going to be the FortiGates right here. So, and that's going to be our 10.1.1.254. And I'm going to use our domain controller for DNS because it's on that side, right? It's on this guy right here. So I'm going to hit save. Okay. I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to change the icon. So I don't know what a web server should look like. Let's take a look here. Do I have anything? Oh, there we go. Look at that. My Packard Bell web server. Anyways, there we go. All right, let's plug this bad boy in. So there we are. There we are. Okay. Now I have firewall rules, and I'll turn this on. All right. I have firewall rules to let anything from here go into the production. All right, it's kind of unrestricted in this direction. In this direction, though, I only have the DC1 accessible. All right, so I'm going to have to go and add this to the firewall policy. So let's do that real quickly. So we'll come in here. Here we go. We'll log into our FortiGate. And what's nice is that if the structure of the firewall policies are there, I mean, now we're just adding, you know, a different source or a different destination or a different service. Now, normally you'd probably want to lock those down a little bit more, but you know, it's a lab environment. So here we go. So right now, all that they can access from the internal production network, right, is the DC1. So we're going to go ahead and hit the pencil here, and we're going to create a new one. All right, and this is going to be our we'll say internal web server. All right, and then I've been making these purplish blue just to have some kind of color convention so I can recognize the objects real easily. There we go, and it's going to be a /32. And in case I ever need it for static routing, I'll turn it on. All right, and then now both of those can be accessed. So, and then also from our management, our IT management side to production, you guys see how it has kind of full access going this direction. It's not as restricted. So I just want to make sure I have the services okay. Okay, so all right, let's take a look. So to test that out, the easiest way, by the way, is to first test it by not going through the firewall. So I can do that right here. So let's see if this web server is working. So we'll say 10, 1.1.5. So if you see this, this is our internal make-believe web server. So pretend like this is a SharePoint, or this is a submit your timesheet, or, you know, Devin is a tool. I don't know, whatever. Now, like I was saying here, I could probably upload using FTP. You know what I mean? A new web page here. I'm not gonna. So just make believe. So, but now we have something for our internal users to access. Okay. So Not too bad. So we know at least the machine is working. Now, I'm going to go into my DC1 and create that A record. And that's our very last step for our videos today. So let's go here. Let's log in. Oh, geez. I can't even remember. Too many passwords. There we go. I need single sign-on. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, so let's do that real quick. So DNS is DNS. So we'll go to Tools, DNS. We'll go to our forward zone, IT Ninja Lab. Okay, we'll make a new A record, and I'm just going to call this HR just for fun, right? And 10.1.1.5. Add the host. Boom, baby. All right, HR. Make sure the pointer record is there. Yep. Good times, good times. And now, if our end users need to access that, all they have to do is be on their PCs. All right, we'll log Paul in here. Paul. All right, good old Paul. I love Paul. All right, here we go, and we'll see if Paul can access his HR website. So through an A record. So here we go. HR.IT.Ninja.lab. All right, so look at that. Now, the reason why it did a search is because .lab is not a top level domain. So, oh geez, them fancy web browsers. HTTP. There we go. So hr.it.ninja.lab. All right, there we go. So my bad, guys. So here we go. So we now have an internal server that we can test once we do our remote connections. We have A records to test the DNS going through the tunnel. And we also have a couple of remote ones that we can install the FortiClient on later. So, and just to kind of verify that these two became up and running, I'm just going to click on PC1. Yep, there it is. It doesn't look like it has internet access. That's not good. All right. Let's take a look here. Nope. PASSW0RD. See how I put that in there from the website so I could remember it. So I'm not even too sure what DNS is being passed out, by the way, here. So let's just check it out. Let's make sure it works. So we'll do a CMD. All right, I'll do an IP config. And there's no default gateway. That's not good. Did I screw something up there? Because that should have been the pfSense box. So let me do an let's see here, IP config release. Let me just do a renew. I might have just skipped through that DHCP setup a little too fast. So, all right, I don't know why it's not getting a default gateway. It's usually not an option up here. So, all right, here we go. OS boxes is its password, if I remember right. Nope. Let's try osboxes.org. There we go. So this is just the Ubuntu build. And we'll see if it gets an IP address. If not, I'm going to have to troubleshoot the DHCP server. So, all right, update and complete language support. I see something down here. All right, so let's go ahead and view our connection information. And there we go. And we have a primary DNS. All right, there we go. We got an IP address there. Okay, so let's go to, I'm trying to think of, how do you get a terminal in here? Is it one of these bad boys? A web browser would work too. It's been a million years since I've used this. System tools, there we go. So let's just do a ping to, no, even though that'll tell me right away if it's working or not, but I'll close it for right now. All right, close. 8.8.8.8. So network unreachable. All right, so ping 192.1. 168.1.1. So it is making it to the pfSense box. So I must have done something on the pfSense box to screw it up. So, oh, come on, Control Z. And I actually know exactly what it was. I didn't do the upstream. Dang it. All right. All right, let's fix that real quick, guys. Aren't you so lucky you see me screwing up? Sometimes YouTube magic does help. So here we go. We're going to go back to our set IP addresses. I don't rehearse these at all, by the way, so I probably should, but I don't. So let's do 1, and it's going to be 10.200.9.1, okay? No DHCP, all right? Oh, I really screwed that one up. Anyways, now I put in the IP address. Sorry, guys, I'm getting thrown off here. All right, so we'll say it's 24 bits. This is where I screwed up. So I forgot to tell the pfSense box whom to pass it off to if it doesn't know where to go. So I should have put in 10.200.9.254 so it knew to hand it off to the WAN box here. All right, so okay. Nope. Nope. And now that should work. So man, what a turkey I am. Let's take a look. Hey, look at all them beautiful packets. Nope. We could have pinged to that already. We wanted 8.8.8.8. Now it's saying that the ping's unreachable. That might just be because we need to do the release and renew. So even though it really shouldn't, now that I think about it. But you know what? When in doubt, turn it on and off again, right, guys? I mean, that's the mantra that we live by in IT. So here we go. IP release, renew. Okay, now we got a gateway. So I'll just do a ping out to 8.8.8. All right, we got internet connectivity, and then also ping google.com. Look at that! It did not give it a DNS, so which is kind of interesting. I thought it was gonna do some kind of DNS for us. So once again, I apologize, guys. Let's fix that real quick. And then that kind of makes sense though, because the upstream, I just realized, usually is set for DHCP. And we're not using DHCP for the upstream. So we need to go to our pfSense box here and actually point it to a DNS server. So 192.168.1.1. All right, so this is going to be pfSense. I cannot remember what the login is. So admin pfSense. All right, and that should get me in. Thank you, for all goodness sake. Okay. So I just had to go ahead and reset the password, and I finally got in. So here we go. I'm going to open up the hamburger menu here. I'm going to say system. I'm going to do my setup wizard. Okay. I'm going to hit next. All right. I'll say next. All right. See how there's no primary DNS. Yeah. So that's what got us in trouble, guys. There we go. All right. We'll hit next. Sure. We'll just hit next. We'll hit next. We'll hit next. We'll hit next. All right. A reload is now in operation. Okay. So hopefully that will do it for us now. Okay. So sorry about that, guys. Okay. How do we test it? Ta-da! There we go. So now all is right with the world. Wow, that took way too long, guys. Anyways, like I said, I'll see what I can't edit out, so you're not just staring at me stare at it. But basically, what just happened there was now normally this interface right here on a pfSense box is set to DHCP, and then DHCP is going to pull out the DNS options right out of the DHCP options, the DNS settings, and then it just acts as a forwarder. And because we did static, I had to change that. So, and I'm pretty sure that now this guy here is working just fine. So, all right, here we go. And I'm just gonna do a quick ping out. So here we are. So here we go, ping 8.8.8. See, just fine. And once again, I'll do a ping google.com. So there we go. There we go. All right. So all is right with the world. So sorry about that, guys. So once again, we these videos stink. Anyways, so once again, we're setting up our topology so we can actually do some testing later on down the road. So we went ahead and we created an additional hop here, all right, for our remote users. Okay, I'm gonna totally have to clean this up eventually. We added some additional PCs down here. We configured the pfSense box. We did a web server. We made an A record. We tested it. And I think there's nothing left here except for adding the branch offices. So I think that'll be our next video unless I can think of something else. And this one ran way too long. So, all right, guys, good luck, and I'll see you here in a little bit.